Newstalk ZB.
Newstalk ZB, 23 minutes away from 8. Prime Minister Christopher Luxon is back with us from holiday. Good to see you.
Good to see you too, Mike.
Out of 10.
What's that, the holiday?
Yeah.
Oh, well, time with Amanda, fantastic. So I hadn't seen her for a few months, so it was great to just sort of sit and chat and reintroduce ourselves to each other.
Fair enough too. And you can I say where you went? Does it matter where you went? You went.
No, I went to Hawaii, and I got to tell you though, I don't, I talked about it before, but I reckon America's on an economic downswing. They got some real challenges in that country, and you come back home and we're on an upswing, and
I believe we are.
Good growth,
and I don't want to say that in a political sense because you're the Prime Minister sitting across from me, but I do believe that we are on the right track slowly. Australia's not.
Australia's
and
on a
America's
downswing.
Certainly not.
I don't know whether you caught up with those latest numbers, but we had 14% growth in Kiwis coming home from Australia at the end of December for the full year. So,
and if I was watching the Australian property market at the moment, along with the tax, and I'd be doing the same thing. Yep. Coupe and Cook are two ferries that were named while you were away by Winston Peters, who thought there might be some sort of frisson around
them. They're great names.
Well, I couldn't agree more. Who literally names them? Who literally does that? Is that a cabinet decision? Is that your decision?
Oh, God, I hope it's not a cabinet decision. If we're making decisions on naming ferries, we've got a bit of a problem because there's a few bigger things to talk about than that.
Is it his decision? Did you know that's what they were going to be
I didn't know that's what they're going to be called, but I think they're great names. I mean, I think they're fantastic. It celebrates New Zealand's maritime history. They've got connections to the Cook Strait, both of them. I think it's fantastic. I mean, I think the most important thing is that we're getting a solid solution in place because it is literally a state highway that we've got to connect two islands with. And, after the hell of a mess the Labor left, mismanaging that project, we've got it all gripped up and I think we're in good shape.
Speaking of the US, we were apparently standing by for some sort of tariff announcement. Are you aware of that on the 301, Section 301?
Yeah, I mean, we're sort of, we don't have any idea as to where it's going to go either in terms of, he's got this rolling mechanism now that because he got overturned in the Supreme Court with the tariffs piece, he's having to find other bits of legislation to activate them again and roll them over. So we'll see where we get to here. But I mean, we've been anywhere between 10 to 15% in recent the last couple of years. We've actually grown our business into the US regardless of all of that. Our exporters are pretty smart at navigating all of that and done a good job. Okay.
New Zealand, Switzerland is the next cab off the free trade rank. Yeah. Do we have any sort of timeline on that?
No, I mean, basically, Todd, we've set out a national party policy. We want to do deals with 7 other countries, essentially, and start those up in the next term. Europe, there's some infill countries that aren't part of the EU, Switzerland being one. The EFTA countries, as they're called. And so Todd hosted something called the Future of Investment, Trade and Partnership, and off the back of that he's kicked it off with the Swiss.
Are we down to the rats and mice now? I mean, I know there's $1.5 billion two-way, but are we down to, we've done the business with everyone that's really worth doing volume-wise?
We've got about 70% of our trade in with FTAs at the moment. I mean, I think post the recent round we'll lift it even further again, but no, actually, Mike, I think there's quite a lot of opportunity. Even in the current agreements, you get these things called non-tariff barriers where there's often go slow through customs or things that end up inadvertently adding costs to our exporters. And there's probably $1 billion worth of stuff we can take out of that alone. We've taken $900 million, I think, out in the last couple of years just by making sure we smooth those agreements. Yeah. But look at countries like Bangladesh. And essentially what's happening is 2/3 of the middle class are going to be in the Indo-Pacific region by the end of the decade. 2/3 of the economic activity is going to be in our part of the world. So the countries like India, like the Bangladeshs of the world that have Indonesias that have large populations, we've still got huge amounts of growth to realise out of these places.
Were you home in time yesterday to watch Peter's speech?
No, I saw some headlines on it or read some commentary on it.
Okay. Well, I watched the whole thing. For what it's
You're a very patient man.
For what it's worth.
Was it 7 hours 20 or how did it go?
Well, it was quite lengthy. The funny thing is he claimed that he's getting the money as an idea. Do you like it or not?
I think it's deeply ironic. I mean, New Zealand First, Labour and the Greens are the guys that killed oil and gas. Let's be honest about it. They stood up on stage with Jacinda Ardern and Megan Woods and they killed it. Mm-hmm. And so it's a lovely idea, but the point is it's just somewhat deeply ironic coming from New Zealand First, given they're the guys that supported the oil and gas ban. Having said that, we do need to make sure we've got firming capacity in the country, and we're already doing it. We've got $200 million we've set aside to try and co-invest with private investors, but we need private investors to come to the market. And at the end of the day, these guys killed it. They seen a chilling effect through those investors. And why would you move hundreds of millions of dollars into New Zealand? So we'll keep trying, but it's bloody hard because of what they did.
Well, he said afterwards, he said that the money's coming from the Future Fund. I thought the Future Fund was it's the Labour idea, isn't it? Is the Future Fund the Labour idea?
He has his own version. I think New Zealand First have their own version of that.
Okay, but that hasn't started yet.
But the problem with the Future Fund ideas that I've seen is that if you're looking at an idea like the Singaporeans have this thing called Temasek, right? These and you know this, but since the 70s they've swapped assets in and out of that vehicle, of that entity. Both Labour and New Zealand First don't want to sell anything. So I mean, the point is you've got to recycle things and say if you're getting a negative return or a 2% return, I'm switching that stock, that investment up to something else, and and that's what the Singaporeans have done. So. And the Future Fund issue with Labour, if that's their idea, is, frankly, what happens to all the dividends, which fund a lot of our health and education and other things as well. So it's all a bit mad.
The $200 million that you've got set aside, the skin in the game thing for oil and gas exploration, is anyone taking that up?
No, not that I'm aware of. We've got some others. We've got some people that are wanting to do deeper exploration and sort of in very early stages of wanting to do exploration.
There was a West Australian company, I think that they were West Australian, that have applied, and then you put it into the 3-month competitive bid.
Correct.
But no one else has taken up the money.
We're trying to facilitate as much as we can. But look, to be honest, when you go kill oil and gas like they did, and New Zealand First was part of it, and they got to front that and they got to own that. Yeah. The reality is, if you're sitting in Canada and you've got hundreds of millions of dollars worth of assets, you've got 195 countries with lots of options, and New Zealand in the deep South Pacific says to you, we don't want your money anymore. That's been a very damaging thing out there. So we will keep trying. The thing, I don't know whether you saw, but last week the Meridian CEO said actually the intervention we made around LNG import facility, if you go and look at that forward pricing, as I kept saying at the time, that has really helped, and it's good that he's saying that will result in lower prices next year, and it better happen.
It will happen. See, what he actually said was the generation's going down. That's good, but retail isn't. The levies aren't. The GST isn't.
The transmission piece.
So my bill at home doesn't change.
He's saying about commercial customers because of wholesale prices.
Which is good, and that's great.
Because they lost a lot. Those wholesale guys have been struggling, mills across New Zealand, etc.
A lot of the councils, I assume you're aware, so councils at the moment are rushing to do deals with local iwi, right?
Yep.
Before you change the law.
Yeah.
Could you not have seen that coming? Seymour says he'll retrospectively kill them. Will you?
Well, it's a big problem. It's completely disingenuous of councils to actually go do agreements that are legally binding under old legislation when they know there's a new one coming. So, Chris Bishop's taking advice on that. He'll have something to say about it very, very soon. But
what do you mean soon? Today, this week?
No, very soon.
Within a month. And what's the advice? Legal advice? Are you going to...
Well, no, it's important that if you're going to make an intervention, which is that
what
you actually
clearly wanting to
do it once and you do it right. You don't muck around.
So here we go.
To go back a second or third time.
So you're going to retrospectively look to kill this or do something that prevents them from doing these deals before you're doing it?
Correct. I mean, there has to be some intervention because essentially you can't... I think it's completely disingenuous of local governments to go off and do that in local councils.
So do you do it retrospectively? Because Canterbury's the one at the moment that's about to, but there are several who have.
Yes, no, I'm aware there's some that have and some that haven't and some that are in process. All I'm just saying to you is we know it's a problem. We think it's deeply disingenuous and cynical. There's a new piece of legislation coming called the RMA reform laws, which are coming in place in the next couple of months. You should do it on the back of once you know where you are with the new law.
So you can do something about this, and we will
look at our options, and we'll have something to say about it very soon.
So you clearly looked at more than the options. You know what you're going to do, don't you? You've got that look on your face. I can tell the look on. I can tell the look on your face.
People can't see the look on the face on radio.
No, they can't. It's being filmed. It's going. It's the World Wide Web, mate. They're looking at you now, and so you are going to do something about
this. It's a problem. We'll have something to say about it very soon.
Okay. Elbow last week talked about AI. Why aren't we talking more about AI and data centres and having some sort of law around them?
Yeah, look, I mean, I think on data centres, the key thing is that any power they require, there has to be additional, right? They've actually got to generate unique supply. You don't want them ripping into the New Zealand supply of electricity and therefore, cranking up prices for retail customers. But if I take a step back on a broader point, AI for New Zealand is a hugely positive thing, and actually there's been quite a negative narrative around AI now for a number of years. When I look at what other governments are doing, for example, and how they run their public service, there's a huge opportunity for us to do that much better. Obviously, a big part of that is data centre investments. We have plenty of land, we have plenty of water, we have good temperate climates, but obviously any investment in data centres has got to be able to bring additional generation to our system. We can't have it taking away from the current system. So that's so there is thinking about those frameworks that we've got underway.
I ChatGPT the other day, the sitting days left in Parliament this year, it says 10. Is that correct?
This comes from a man who just had, 7 weeks holiday in New York or something?
Whatever. I'm looking at this.
Where's my calendar?
No, I was looking at...
there it is.
I was looking at the things you've got left to do legislatively speaking.
Got a bit
it says
to do.
you've got 10 sitting days left. Would that be correct? You're rising in September.
We're rising. Parliament lifts on September 24.
Right.
I think we've got 3 sitting blocks going between now and then.
So
we've got a 3-week one now. We did some urgency, as you know, just before the last recess.
Right.
And we may have to use some more urgency as well. We've got some big things to get done.
So you will get it done as well.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, we've been... this is a government that's probably done more legislation, I think, since the early 80s than any other government. And we've got it's a lot of planes to land in sequence and in the legislative agenda. But there's a lot to get done.
Okay, nice to see you. Appreciate
Good to see you too.
Prime Minister 13-2.